It's such a pleasure to be joining you on this very, very special edition, Dance of Democracy for Every Practical Purpose. That's exactly what's happening in India. I'm Supriya Shrinate. And over the next 30 minutes, we will discuss the suspense that has ended in Karnataka. Yeddyurappa has been sworn in, the decisions that he has taken, the midnight courtroom battle here in New Delhi. But most of all, what has followed from Karnataka? It's almost like Karnataka has set a cat among the pigeons. It's almost like Karnataka has finally given India a sense of an opposition that seems to be existing also. But is that leading to a country with a lot of confusion? Does this make sense to talk about a clock that cannot be turned back? Or is the opposition perhaps making a valid demand? Joining me on the show right now is Sanjeev Srivastava, a very, very eminent commentator and political commentator there. We've got Mohammad Khan from the Congress and Vaibhav Agarwal, spokesperson of the BJP, who's on the phone line, will join us soon live. Thank you very much, each one of you, for joining us. And Sanjeev Srivastava, I have to begin with you because this requires a neutral voice to first things put in perspective. Goa, Manipur, Meghalaya is where the Congress wants to stake claim. Bihar is where the RG says they are the rightful occupants of the Vidhan Sabha and they will be meeting the governor tomorrow. That's what Tejasvi Yadav has said. Is India's opposition in an overdrive, and has the battle for 2019 really begun post-Karnataka? Because we're seeing a very coordinated sort of opposition events unfold all day today.
Supriya, very good evening, and I think you have taken away my words. So I am really at a loss as to what to say, because you have summed it up. Your program, you say it's dance of democracy, what's happening in Karnataka. You could have said maybe Tandav of democracy, because there is an element of violence in this, in the sense of the intensity that one is witnessing out of Karnataka. What I think is that it has somehow become a win-win situation for the opposition and not such a win-win situation for the BJP. Yes, if the BJP forms the government, then things will be forgotten, we'll move on. This issue will be somewhere buried, next big headline will take over. But I suspect this has come to somewhere stick. So if the BJP wins, still they have united the entire opposition, from Chandrababu Naidu to Telangana Chief Minister, to Mayawati, to Mamta, to Tejasvi. Suddenly there is a sense of energy as well as urgency in the opposition ranks. And willy-nilly, what the Congress has done by extending support to JDS, that it has also purged itself in the same tent as the regional parties. So there is now regional parties plus Congress kind of a front which has solidly come into existence, which will be a problem for the BJP even if they form the government here. Just imagine what will happen in 2019 national elections in Karnataka. JDS Congress combination vis-a-vis BJP, it will be a very formidable combination and an alliance. And BJP had a substantial number of, I think, 15 or 17 seats from Karnataka. So already people are speculating what will be the numbers left. And if the same kind of alliance will take place across the country, then perhaps the BJP, Amit Shah, Prime Minister Modi, in their eagerness, overconfidence, arrogance, what you may, to install Yeddyurappa as Chief Minister, because they have rode through all kind of difficulties in the past. So have they once for once bitten perhaps more than what they could chew is the big question. And if by chance, if the Yeddyurappa government fails to win the floor test, then it will be such a big leg up for the opposition and a definite self-inflicted wound for the Modi-Amit Shah combination. So very interesting times, very interesting days ahead, and every day we'll watch this game as which MLA has moved or they have not moved, or whether they have really moved, they are just claims and counter claims.
Right.
So some excitement. Let's see what the court does tomorrow.
Right. And there's always an exciting day as far as Indian politics is concerned, which is exactly why we love it so much. But let me take this across to Mohammad Khan, who represents the Congress party here. In Bihar and in Goa, Manipur, Meghalaya, you want to stake claim now. Is that a mere political stunt? Because many people believe it's a very good political stunt if there is. But doesn't it ironically also weaken your stance in Karnataka? Because in Karnataka, the whole battle is between the Congress and the JDS that you are the single largest coalition. You should have been invited. And now you go back and say that as a single largest party, we should be invited in Goa. Aren't you speaking two completely diametrically opposite languages, and aren't you demeaning and diluting your own stake in Karnataka?
Not at all, Supriya ji. In fact, we are learning and we are being educated by our learned friends from the BJP who a year ago was arguing one principle of law very eloquently and now are arguing another. So if the BJP is correct that we have the right to stake our claim in Karnataka as well as in these states, going by their logic, by the logic put forth by their very eminent lawyers, by their law minister, by a former president of India, and their reading of the law over the last 24 hours. Let us recap the event, Supriya ji, of what transpired in Karnataka. The election results were announced. 5 o'clock we requested time with the governor. We were denied. Yeddyurappa was called first. We went at 5:30. We said we have the numbers. The governor shooed us away. We came back the next day with all the MLAs in a bus. Not a single one missing. I think one was missing, but the rest were all there. And we said, count them. They're all in front of you, willing to attest to the fact that we are there to support the JDS. The governor turns us away. Now, the word they keep throwing at us is discretion, the governor's discretion. As a very senior advocate of the Supreme Court put it, when the word discretion is used in any legislature or the constitution, it doesn't mean marzi. It doesn't mean कि मेरी मर्जी है मैं तय करूंगा जो मुझे करना है. You still have to operate within defined precedents, laws and conventions. Now let us look at these laws and conventions. Right. S.R. Bomai, Rameshwar Prasad, the case where we were the parties when we went to the Supreme Court last year in Goa.
Mohammed Khan, I am not, I have done, Mohammed Khan, 1 second. Yes, Mohammed Khan, I have done enough and more discussions. No, 1 second. I have done enough and more discussions where I have quoted all these cases. I don't want to do a discussion on that. I am simply asking you a question. Are you diluting your argument? You are saying you are not. You are perhaps only taking it forward. But Vaibhav Agarwal, there is also a question that comes to the BJP. If the single largest party principle is true that you are quoting in Karnataka and which is why you have been sworn in, why are you today mocking and blaming the Congress and RJD in Bihar? They are exactly asking for what you are professing right now. You seem to have laid the blueprint for this.
You know what the funny part is that that this would become a mockery of the law and the democracy. You know, the democracy rule that when it was established, the very definition of democracy, and my learned friend is a counsel here, he would know that the principle of democracy lies in its people and the choices that the people exert. That's the underlying principle, the top line and the bottom line of that, that law. It is not governed by any convention. It cannot be defined by conventions. Now, why this is a mockery of the entire system? Let's take an example of Goa. Goa, they should have put a claim forth. They never even went to meet the governor. And then there is always a timeline that after the declaration of elections, when the governor chooses so. Once the notification of the election commission comes to the governor can just choose it and take forth the steps. Where is the problem? I mean, isn't this what they want? They're trying to do is they're trying to do it in retrospective. Isn't this like a child in the toy store that is crying out loud saying, no, I want that toy. And the best part is that toys for children are always bought by the parents for education, for the purpose of education and learning, not for the sole purpose of entertainment. Here, the sole purpose is entertainment. Keep the BJP out, get everyone in, you know. So I don't want to get into it. I don't think, my learned counsel will never have, learned friend will never have an argument on Hansraj Bhardwaj, Ramesh Bhandari, others scam, and so on and so forth. So I don't want to go in there. I would like to sit back and take a dig at it.
Right, Vaibhav, there is no denying that. 1 second, there is no denying that. For every Mr. Vaju in Karnataka, there is a Ramesh Bhandari and an HR Bharadwaj and a Bhutta Singh that the Congress will want to not boast of. So that I buy your argument there. Where I don't buy your argument is that this is not entertainment. This is pure politics. This is extremely serious politics. This is about respecting the people's mandate. You are quoting single largest party example here. You can't shoo away and run away from the argument in another state where you subverted that principle. That's my simple point. But Sanjeev Srivastava, to you, I can let the Congress and the BJP bicker on this, but I think the larger point is whatever the Congress is saying today or the RJD is saying today, Can we turn the clock back? I mean, what are we talking about here? There's been 330 days of the government in Bihar. Can we turn the clock back at all? It's been over a year since the Goa government came into effect. Won't this plunge the country into some sort of an anarchy? And is this confusion, is this chaos worth anything?
No, I think, Supriya, we are missing the point. I think what the opposition, they also fully realize. It is not suddenly that Nitish Kumar will be asked to step down and Tejasvi will be asked to come in and have a floor test of his own, or something will be reversed in Goa. It's making the larger political point. It is the opposition trying to expose the BJPs and their appointed governors doublespeak. That's the point. And the bigger point, even the bigger point than this, is that the message which is going out loud and clear is that it is the BJP on one hand and all the non-BJP major regional parties in the Congress on the other. I think it is that political point which these opposition leaders are trying to establish. So that's the bigger story of the day. That's why I maintain that regardless of the outcome of Karnataka, willy-nilly what the BJP has done by taking this position in Karnataka is that they have united the opposition. Just for a minute you assume if the JDS and Congress had formed the government, it would have suddenly the public mood, sympathy, write-ups would have been saying that, see, BJP was the largest party with 104 MLAs, a majority of population in terms of number of seats had voted for the BJP, but they have gracefully decided to opt out and sit out. And within 4 to 6 months, you can trust our politicians. JDS and Congress would have had differences on one pretext or the other. That is the assumption. They may not have had. And that is the time, or even if this horse trading was to be done, which the BJP is trying to do now, had they done it when the JDS Congress government was formed, it would have been much easier. They could have taken their own time. I just think that would have been smarter politics. But the problem with the BJP top brass is that power has so gone into their head maybe that they just can't wait.
Right.
And it is, sometimes this arrogance will have some kind of a payback time in politics.
Oh yes, politics always pays back, and we've already seen that in history repeatedly. But let me shift to the war of words that unfolded, and let me take this across to Mohammad Khan first, and then I'm going to get Vaibhav Agarwal there. And Mohammad Khan, Rahul Gandhi calls it a murder of democracy. And BJP wants to form the government with no numbers, is what he says. This is murder of democracy. This is a constitutional crisis. But isn't that true of the Congress too? You don't have the numbers either. And you are very, very willing to hand over the chief ministership of Karnataka to someone who's just got 38 MLAs and less than 17% vote. Isn't that murder of democracy too?
Not really, considering the fact that the Congress's vote share in Karnataka is higher than that of the BJP at 38%. They have 36. We polled a total of over 6 lakh votes more than them. Number two, we and the JDS combined represent 56% of the votes together. So you tell me, Supriya ji, if we take democracy at its very definition, so tell me something, if we take democracy at its very barest definition, the rule by will of the majority, then are we not eminently qualified over and above them? In fact, they are the least qualified because their vote share, if we take it at face value, shows that fewer people voted for them. But I want to address something that my dear friend Vaibhav said. Vaibhav, you said we didn't stake claim in Goa, but we staked claim here much before you. So then you should back off here, we satisfy your standard there. If, however, your position is what you cited in the Supreme Court, where you said single largest party and you relied on SR Bomai and your interpretation of SR Bomai, which has changed over the span of a year, then you should give us these other states. You can't be right on both accounts, Vaibhav. You see the conundrum you're in. This reminds me of a saying in the scriptures, a saying in the Bible, where Satan quotes scripture for his own purpose. You're too nice a guy, Vaibhav. It's not aimed at you, but at your colleagues in the party. So therefore, sir, if there is a crisis, if you are having sleepless nights, it is entirely of your own making, and you have no one to blame but yourself.
All right, Mohammad Khan, you've made a larger point about you haven't murdered democracy, but Amit Shah responded to Rahul Gandhi's tweet, and Vaibhav, this is for you. Amit Shah says the murder of democracy happens the minute a desperate Congress makes an opportunist offer to the JDS, not for Karnataka's welfare, but for the petty political gains. Shameful. I'm quoting him verbatim. But isn't this exactly what the BJP did in Goa, Manipur and Meghalaya? I mean, how it's almost like the kettle and the pot calling each other black. It doesn't work like that, sirs. Rahul Gandhi says murder of democracy, then wants to make somebody chief minister with 17% vote share. You say murder of democracy the moment JDS is tied up with, and you did exactly that in the past. How are we to justify these things?
You know, each area, it's a point well taken and question well asked. Now, so first to answer you, that I don't think I agree. I agree with Rahul ji's statement of murdering of democracy, and I do not definitely agree that the other states that there may have been certain actions and BJP is responsible for them are under the same circumstances or situations. Now, each state's mandate has its own war at front, has its own battle, has its own meaning, has its own situation, has its own mathematics in place. We all have to appreciate that. Point number one. Point number two, when we formed the government in Meghalaya, you're not understanding. The government in Meghalaya was formed by NPP with Bharatiya Janata Party in the lead. Now, that is an understanding between two political ideologies that we reach out to a common minimum program, a governance agenda, and move forward with it. But JDS and Congress in Karnataka have no locus standi because both have not just lost seats, but they've also lost the area and their own strongholds that have been covered. For example, Congress's stronghold has come to BJP. BJP has only gained in these Karnataka elections. BJP has not lost. You understand? We've gained 50 plus seats. That's so to answer your specific and direct question. Now, in a retrospect, if I was to go to 5-minute back question or a pointer to Mohammed Bhai's jibe at the onset of the situation, I think I beg to disagree with him because I'm afraid since the matter is in the court, if this matter was not being played in the arena of judiciary, and especially the definition of this very matter belongs to the court of the people. Election is a subject matter of the people's court, not the judicial court. But however, so they choose to run that there. I shall not be a competent authority and I'm humble enough to understand that. I am not competent enough to comment on the situation as to what's going on or what will go on inside the court tomorrow in a 3-judge bench where judges like Justice Sikri and Justice Bomare are presiding the entire bit. And of course, so absolutely not to be very careful and absolutely not to pass a judgment on what are the understandings of the honorable judges there, because I have complete faith in there.
All right. Okay, no, I don't want any of you to preempt that, but I have to move forward. And Sanjeev Srivastava, Yashwant Sinha today says, I'll just request each one of you to be brief because I do want to cover some 3-4 points and I've just got the last 6 minutes left on the show. Sanjeev Srivastava, Yashwant Sinha today says, what is happening in Karnataka or otherwise is a dress rehearsal for what will happen after Lok Sabha 2019. Is that a concern you share as well?
Well, I don't know. Mr. Yashwant Sinha, I have also read his statement. I think he tweeted that. And what will happen in 2019, whether the big question is whether BJP will be in that stage where they can do what they have done in Karnataka. See, the situation is very clear. 104 BJP has and they had 115 yesterday. So, it's a no-brainer. So, what the governor has done is to invite Yeddyurappa and asked him to prove his majority on the floor of the house by indulging in horse trading, by winning or bagging or somehow catching hold of MLAs from the other side, because there are no free floating MLAs there. They are either in JDS or Congress or the couple of independents, one BSP. So, it's actually for a person like Vaibhav or for anybody in the BJP, if they come to a television studio, it's very difficult to defend this. And they realize this, and that's perhaps why Amit Shah and the Prime Minister didn't go for the swearing in this morning, because the situation is just so fluid and not
Sanjeev
just fluid. Anybody understands it's embarrassing also. It's embarrassing also. So 2019 is far away.
No, that's exactly my point, and that's the question.
And a lot of things interesting happening between now and then.
Yes, absolutely. There is a Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh where the BJP is an incumbent and the Congress is a challenger. But that's exactly the point I wanted to ask Vaibhav Agarwal. And very briefly, Vaibhav, if you can tell me, your party MPs and MLAs and, ministers from the union cabinet, including the Prime Minister, the party president, fly everywhere where there's a government being formed. Why was Mr. Modi and Mr. Shah not there at the oath-taking ceremony today? Is that perhaps because they realize the situation is fluid, it could settle either way, they're perhaps not as confident?
No, not at all. I think there were a lot of changes yesterday with Congress running and creating a mockery of the judicial system and stretching it to its limits. I appreciate Mr. Singhvi, the leading counsel on the case, appreciating that there is still transparency and democracy in the same institution that Congress's 70 MPs signed to impeach the Chief Justice of. So any which way, so anybody can read between the lines. But besides that, I think Amit Bhai and Naren Bhai had to struggle a lot with their programs this morning. And since it was 9 a.m. swearing in ceremony, they just couldn't make it. But don't forget that there were quite a few of the central leadership representatives at the helm of affairs standing with Yeddyurappa ji, and there is no problem. And let me assure you, we will not
right.
Let you go high and dry. We will have a grand function in Bangalore in about a week's time, and where a proper cabinet will take its oath, and that is where every one of us will also be there, including you and me.
Okay. All right, I'm glad. I'm not going to make it, but I'm sure you will certainly. But I'm not going to put you on a mat on this one. I understand that you have to say that the PM and party president were very busy. They haven't been busy before. But, let me just talk about this whole midnight drama as it unfolded by the Congress party. Vaibhav is right to say that, you were questioning the very institution, and now that's the institution that you have recourse to. So, Mohammad Khan, did the Congress always know, did it always know that it would have never got a stay on the swearing in any case, and so now your best chance is to reduce the period for the test that has been given, which is very bizarre. I mean, as a journalist, I can say 15 days when he's asked for 7 is nonsense. So I'm just asking you, is that your best bet? Because I'm sure you knew you would have never got a stay on the swearing in ceremony despite your midnight rush.
Well, yes, because Article 361 of the Constitution puts decisions of the governor outside the ambit of judicial review. But we were hopeful that the court would intervene because, Supriya ji, and here is an important distinction to make. We questioned an individual, never the institution. We always reiterated we have the greatest of faith in the institution. But I have one final question as the show closes, and I've been asking every BJP representative, and the court, the learned judges of the court asked this of your lawyers last night. How are you going to get from 104 to 111? We have laid out our strategy and all our arguments in front of you. The people of India have seen what we are doing. Tell us. You refuse to tell the court, you refuse to tell the people. Are you perchance ashamed of the strategy you are going to adopt? Is it illegal? Or will admitting it on the TV channel in full public view put you in light of some degree of criminal culpability? That is the interesting question. How are you going to get from 104 to 111? Vaibhav, can you answer that for me?
Can't.
May I
No,
answer?
Mohammed
Yes,
Khan,
I
I've been asking
May
that
I
question
answer
to
that,
every
Supriya
BJP
ji?
spokesperson.
Quickly?
No, I'm not no, 1 second. I really don't have time on the show. I don't think we need to get into that discussion because we know where the numbers intend to come from. I don't think Mr. Yeddyurappa will rise and give a speech that is going to touch the conscience of lawmakers. That's not how politics in India is done. I will give a final word to Sanjeev Srivastava. And Sanjeev Srivastava, very quickly,
so got my words.
We may debate Yeddyurappa being sworn in or not. The reality... No, 1 second. No, 1 second. Yeddyurappa was sworn in today, and even before he proves the majority on the floor of the House, he announces a decision in his first cabinet meeting to waive off farm loans. Is that something that he should have done at all? He hasn't won a floor test. This is public money that he's talking about.
Well, if he survives the floor test, he can implement that decision. If he doesn't survive it, he can still say that this is something which he promised and he implemented in his first executive order, and the responsibility of either going ahead with that decision or undoing it will rest with the following government of JDS and Congress. I will only have one more sentence with your permission, that while you raised in your last question to the Congress representative this thing about Supreme Court, I honestly believe the Congress overplayed its hand in going for the impeachment notice against the Chief Justice, because they shouldn't have done it. Now they kind of look foolish, no? You were expressing your no confidence and complete lack of faith in the Chief Justice. At the end of the day, in midnight, you had to rush to his home, and had he not obliged, he would not have, you would not have got that three-judge bench hearing the case. So when you are sure of losing, then why did you extend yourself and put yourself out on a limb to be exposed to the world? Is something which the Congress managers have, you know, their decision has left me completely baffled. That's why I think that Congress also is a party full of, you know, working at crossroads and different people taking different decisions. That way the BJP is a little better,
Right.
you know, good or bad. Their high command is more solid now than the Congress high
more
command.
consistent, more consistent decisions. But on that note, Vaibhav Agarwal, Mohammad Khan and Sanjeev Srivastava, can't thank you enough for this very lively discussion, and thank you very much for putting your points across without the usual mudslinging that we see on television. So it's always a pleasure to be talking to gentlemen like you. But I think as a quick parting note there, the dance of democracy, or like Sanjeev Srivastava said, the thunder of democracy has indeed taken off. We will have to wait and watch what the court does tomorrow as far as government formation and the vote of confidence in Karnataka is concerned. Its fallout, it's almost that the cat has been set among the pigeons, is what we are seeing, with the Congress wanting to stake claim in Goa, Manipur and all of that, and the RJD wanting to do so in Bihar. This is at best a political stunt, but what this tells you suddenly is that there is an opposition that was nowhere to be found in this country. Thank you very much for being with us. News and updates continue right here on ET Now.